Hey y'all, how's it going? I'm trading the ES futures on a 2000 tick chart with a 21 EMA. So I've got the overnight highs up here, overnight lows down here. These are our key levels for the day. So starting off, 8 o'clock is this area right here as we were forming this low right here. So we have this downtrend break, first attempt lower, and then some would see this red bar here and think that that's the start of the second attempt lower. And so they would try to go short after this red bar. Of course, they clearly wouldn't get filled here because it doesn't tick lower, but some people would try to go short right there because they think that's the second attempt lower. Now you're going really sideways at that point. You're basically in a range, and so I would avoid that. But I see where you're coming from. It's just way too choppy to enter right there. So that's worth avoiding. So anyway, we push up here. Now we have these two legs up, perfect measured move. We have this downtrend, and then on this, you'd see those two attempts right there on a bigger picture. That's one attempt. So you'd see downtrend, break, first attempt lower, second attempt lower, and so unfortunately, there's no way to safely enter this short right here. It has STT going straight through it. It's not off of any kind of resistance other than the measured move, which entering just purely based on the measured move is not enough. It looks so simple with these two legs up and then reversing straight after, but it's not going to work out that cleanly every time. So anyway, we push lower here. We have this first leg down. Notice how, see these two legs down right here. Notice how they're really just one leg down. It's, this one measured move right here. So we have the push down, break, first attempt to reach a measured move, second attempt, and I didn't like how I didn't like this to go long right here because it wasn't really fading. I mean, it was fading technically because you have that range, but it just didn't feel like it was off of much support at this point, so I didn't want to take that there. But then here, we have another attempt to reach it, and then it clearly traps, which is one reason that I would like to enter there, except there's just simply no room. We tick lower and just shoot up higher, close back inside the range, even above the EMA, which the EMA isn't what bothers me there. I don't care if, in this situation, it wouldn't matter if you closed above the EMA, because it's chopping straight through the EMA anyway. It's safe to enter into the EMA, except there's just no room to the other side of this range right here. It's clearly going sideways here. It has that resistance, even after it pushes higher than that bar, it reacted off that high right there. You'd want to get out before those highs right there. There's just simply no room. Look how far you're going to push it out of that range. We push up, it reacts off those highs, it gets choppy for a bit, we finally start pushing higher here, and then it just takes off. There's these corrections that don't reach the EMA, which you need them to reach the EMA, and so there's really no way to take these longs right here. We break out of the overnight high. Now when you break out of the overnight high like that, what I would want to see is, say I wanted to go long with the breakout, I would want to see two clear attempts to fade and then entering on the failure to fade. But we don't even get a very significant correction. We get this two-legged pullback. It doesn't reach the EMA. It doesn't reach the overnight low. That's not enough to go long based on. So anyway, I just don't see anything there. And then, of course, the other option that you would want to see is a rush below the EMA and then two attempts to push out and then that failure and then continue with the fade to actually fade it back into the overnight high. But neither of those things happen. We just don't get a setup in this area. We push it up higher here. We start getting this uptrend here. So now uptrend, break, and then first attempt higher, second attempt higher. I just want to mention really quick, I did not get this trade right here. I meant to mention that at the very beginning. I missed this trade completely. So anyway, what I like about it is that you have that first attempt higher here, and then you're continuing that second attempt higher on this entry right here. And so let me get that exact really quick, that measured move. So this entry right here, you see first entry short, second entry short, failure. It's to complete that second leg higher after this uptrend break. So uptrend, break, first attempt higher, we can expect the second attempt higher, and then we get this failed second entry before this measured move is completed. And so the reason that I would take it with a limit order. If I had seen it, I was out of the room, unfortunately. I would try to enter with a limit order if I could, to try to keep it within that measured move, because you're not just entering into that measured move, you're also entering into this high. And remember, it bounced right off that measured move right there. That does happen. And so when you're entering right into that measured move and also into a high, the likelihood of it bouncing off is pretty high. And so I do like that trade, but I would try to enter with a limit order. Anyway, so we push up higher here. We get a little bit congestive. Now we have a new high for this uptrend. So uptrend, break, new high. We push off of it, and then that's when I kind of started seeing this a little bit more. We have these lows right here, and then that matches perfectly with these two highs up there. This is a pretty wide channel for just coming out of a overnight range, but sometimes they will confirm and then they'll end up being in that uptrend for the day. Of course, this one ended up not confirming off the lows there, just pushed straight through. But at this point, we have these highs, we have these lows, we push off of it, and so when you come off one side of a channel, you can expect prices to make 2 attempts to reach the other side before you want to go with the bias of the channel again. So in this case, we have this up channel. We bounce off one side of it. We want to see 2 attempts to reach the other side before continuing to go long. And so when I see this right here, we rush below the EMA, I'm not going to want to go long right here because we only have 1 attempt to reach the other side, and then also we're below the EMA. So at this point right here, when we attempt to move higher here, and then we get this trap bar, it ticks higher than that green bar and immediately just flushes lower. And I know at this point we can still expect 2 attempts to reach the other side before looking to go long. And so we still have this in play right here. First leg, break, expecting a second leg. It's clearly forming a trap. And that's really a perfect place to go short right there. I ended up doing only 1-to-1 because it was getting a little bit sideways, and also it was against the overall bias of what the day was doing so far, the uptrend. And so I ended up only doing 1-to-1, just limiting my target. But it ended up reaching that measured move, which let me draw that measured move really quick. So notice how we have this measured move here. It reached it, and then that's when it reversed right there. So these measured moves are very important to draw. They're very strong levels. I just didn't want to push it all the way to it because, like I said, the bias was up. It was getting a little bit sideways. I just wanted to be safe with 1-to-1 there. So anyway, we push lower here. We reach that measured move. We start going sideways a bit, and then we push off here, and then we start getting this uptrend line right here. We have 1, 2, and then we reconfirm it here with that third bounce off this key entry point. We push above the EMA. It's closing out of the chop, basically. We was going choppy right here. We kind of broke out, had a pullback, and then closed above. I do like this entry right here. We have this measured move in play, so we can see this uptrend break, first attempt higher, and then second attempt higher. Of course, after it makes a new high, it can reverse, but we already had those 2 legs down with a measured move, which means now we can look to make this larger measured move. So when we're closing above the EMA, bouncing off this third, bouncing for the 3rd time off this key entry point right here, I definitely like going long right there. But you got to keep it just 1-to-1. I kept it within this measured move, of course, but also I didn't want to push it farther than this range right here. I think I pushed it all the way to the tick just to get that 1-to-1, but I felt safe doing that because we had this measured move in play all the way till up here. And so it did not go much further than my target here. We reached the target, went choppy, made this double top right here and reversed back down. So we push lower here, it starts going choppy, we're not reaching the EMA here, we push lower. And then at this point right here, you bounce off the lows. Of course, there's really no clear entry there. It would be right in STT. It's just right after a huge drop. You want to see a clear 2 legs back before you enter long off the overnight high like that, retesting it. But then here we push up, and then we have this short entry off these lows, except we just came off the overnight low. So this is one of those areas where it looks good to look for longs and also shorts at the same time. So that's a good way to know to avoid entering anything. So I don't like going long right here. I don't like going short right here, because even though you have this bar right here, what could happen is you tick lower, you make a second leg up, and then you look to retest on a bigger picture there. So I don't like that right there, but we do push lower here. And then this is where I was looking for another trade, and then I ended up just getting out of break even. So what happened was we faded back in, and then we went to retest the overnight high. We have the first retest, so first entry short, second entry short, and then we tick higher than that previous bar and just shoot down lower. That looks really good, like a trap bar. And I was thinking that we could get a nice 1-to-1 trade here, but it ended up starting to form some resistance down here. It came up, it retested this level up here, which got pretty close to the stop, and at that point I just got out at break even. It was just forming too much resistance, so I would have ended up winning by a tick or 2 if I had stayed in. But when it starts chopping around all like this, just get out, in my opinion, because it could just reverse on you. Clearly, that momentum from that bar did not last very long, so I just got out. So anyway, in this range, clearly, after we chop around a bit, we can clearly see this range right here. We have these highs, we have these lows. We break out, we fade back in. Of course, that's not a good looking fade. The EMA is straight down. Clearly, price has been mostly below the EMA. And so you'd want to see it actually push back up and confirm and then hold above the EMA with the actual swing bar right there. But then here, by the time you get that, you can see this failed second entry formed, first entry short, second entry short, failure. I mean, that's right into these range highs right here. It's right into these range highs. It's getting really choppy around the overnight high. You don't know if it's going to do that. So you just got to avoid that. You don't know it's going to do that. So we push up higher here, push back lower here, and then this is kind of when I started, I stopped trading around this area here. So we have these couple legs up here. We push back below the EMA, and they're also fade back into the range. We get this lower high right here. This lower high actually looks pretty decent because, so notice how we have this, the uptrend break, couple attempts higher, and then this is the real huge reversal right here. So we can expect a couple legs down from here. And then when you get this break up here and then push lower, you know this is likely the start of that second leg down. And so when you're getting a huge bar like that with this major measured move in play, and you're fading a major level, you're fading this range right here, this overnight range, that looks pretty good right there, this entry right here. That looks like a pretty decent entry because it's a big picture, lower high, with that measured move in play. You know, this uptrend is played out, and then that's when you got this major launch down, and then you're just getting that second leg for that right there. So I think that looks pretty good. And then you could, of course, be forming a range like this, so it's good that getting out right there, 1-to-1, clearly out at that double bottom right there. That's also right where it reacted. So anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hope it helped in some way, and I'll see y'all next time.